I welcome Sylvain. I very much look forward on his speech for today.
Thank you, Leonor, for the introduction, and hello, everybody, and thank you for having me. I'm going to share a few slides with you. So, the future of work through different lenses. So, I cannot otherwise than to start with a few considerations on talking about the future of whatever question it is. The future of work or something else. When we talk about the future, we have to keep in mind that nobody can predict the future, and but we all have assumptions about the future, and these assumptions may differ according to the lens through which we look at a particular question about the future, like the future of work. And also our assumptions about the future are based on our worldviews, value systems, and underlying myth and metaphors. And which is quite important because many people consider these as facts, and they are not facts. They are only our worldviews, and that can change over time, of course. So accordingly, our images of the future can widely differ, including the question on the future of work. Often the future is conveyed via trend reports, and trend reports, they are a common outcome of these kind of foresight and forecasting initiatives. And there are no shortages of these speculations and predictions on many different topics, as you all can see in your daily work when you see your news feeds. So though these trends may be useful in understanding and analyzing or extrapolating from the current state, they also are problematic in different ways. For example, they support an economic and often support an economic and technology-driven mindset, like what to invest in next, which often overlooks other critical aspects of the system, including the impending climate catastrophe, which is our biggest challenge anyway. And then they may emphasize noise rather than knowledge. They can be vague, misleading, or wrong, especially when they capture short-lived facts. And all are not equal. I skipped one slide. I don't know why so it reacts a little slowly. And this was the first list of the issues about trend reports. So they are a reflection of the past because all data is historical by nature. They simplify and compartmentalize data, and the analysis and interpretation of which is subject to human error, of course. They are simple, linear, and incidental, not systemic. We follow single threads and not how they weave together or influence each other in the present and in the future. So this idea of systemic thinking and interdependent thinking, which is getting more and more important, they do not account for wildcards and unpredictable events, which you can do when you build scenarios, of course. They do not capture unintended consequences, and they become more difficult to predict the further we look into the future. And they encourage extrapolating the past into the future rather than creating new visions and innovations. So given this sheer number of trend predictions, it can be difficult to determine what is critical and warrants attention. And often they also overemphasize on technological developments. So that's just to set the scene when talking about the future. So back to the future of work. The future of work is a hot discussion topic since several years now. We all know that, and emphasize again with the pandemic. So just to showcase these 2.8 whatever million results when you Google about the future of work. So the risk when looking at the future of work is also that often our technophilic visions of the future suggest that such a future will arrive in a protected bubble, as already mentioned, unaffected by the Earth's decaying around it. But like any other question about the future of work can be looked at through different lenses that are all systemically interdependent and interconnected. What can be those lenses? Well, you can look at the future of work through the organizational lens. So what does it mean? How is work organized within companies, between workers and companies? Economical, sociological, anthropological, psychological, and educational or health-related, sustainability-related, and of course, technology. Yeah, I'm waiting for my PowerPoint slides to move on when I push the button, which they don't like to do. Okay, they did. So let's look at some questions around the future of work. Okay, I'm right because I skipped one. Let's look at some questions around the future of work. So hybrid work, we all know now that the pandemic brought us to hybrid work and to remote work, and which also had a positive impact on sustainability, mobility, and operating costs for companies, of course. But it also raises the question of psychological safety in such a setting. Hybrid work benefits from the acceleration of digitalization that happened during the pandemic, of course. And many big corporations are now struggling to get workers back to the office as they feel loss of performance and control, which is not true for every corporation, but those old style corporations, that's what they are trying to do now. And probably this is a lost game for them. Purpose. So more and more workers, and especially the young, are looking for a purpose in their life, of which work, of course, is an important part of. And very importantly, they are fed up spending their time in hierarchical, command and control driven and creativity averse and purposeless big organizations, which is probably the one thing that will have the biggest impact on the future of work. Again, waiting for my PowerPoint. Sorry, I don't know why it is hanging. Mental health and meaning of life issues related to work are on the rise as well. We see a lot of burnouts. People now want to do purpose of work, as we just mentioned, and work anytime from anywhere and on any device, and choose their individual work-life balances in a human-centered work environment. So if you look at the news, you have been reading many articles about that. So you see Burger King, sorry for the inconvenience, we all quit. That's something that happened in the United States. So the whole staff of some Burger Kings quit it. Toxic culture is driving the Great Resignation. You have been certainly you heard about the great resignation, especially in the US, but also happening today. I read an article about France where the same is happening. And they choose their individual work-life balances in a human-centered work environment. They also getting entrepreneurs, doing their own startups, creating their own startups, because it's easier in a way to have that purpose and to organize your own work-life balance in a more human-centered work environment if you have to complete control of it, of course. I'm not sure whether I had all the, so there was one slide before, but it was also talking about the Great Resignation. For example, this article says COVID revealed how abnormal our modern workplace is. So, people also realized this after working from home for several months and with no commute and with more time with family. And that's the reason why many people decided there is a need for a change. There was another recent article, very interesting, in the New Yorker about slow productivity. The article is arguing that workers today, especially knowledge workers, work on too many issues and projects at the same time, which impedes impact of these projects. So there is a wrong idea that people should be more productive if they do more things at the same time. we know that our brains are not as performant when we have to do 15 projects at the same time. So the author here is asking or arguing that we should consider 4-day works and also give less items and projects to work to everybody, which will eventually increase focus and impact of that work that is being done, and also have a positive effect on mental health, of course. So technology, of course, technology is an important part in the future of work. We see that automation and robotics helps us relieve from difficult, boring, hard and painful manual work, but also some kind of knowledge work, which is very repetitive in different sectors like manufacturing, craftsmanship, health, and elderly care. But how many jobs will technology and AI eventually destroy, and how many new ones will they create, and which ones we still don't know? There are a lot of reports and predicting this will happen, but remember about the issues about forecasting or predicting the future that I mentioned at the beginning. And also, will knowledge workers all end up working entirely as avatars and holograms in the metaverse or not? Questions over questions. So you see, I'm not giving you answers to the future of work, but I'm raising the questions around the future of work. And if we want to have answers, we have to build different types of scenarios, because there will not be one possible future of work, of course. And what about ethics? Because we also witness, on the other hand, a rising monitoring and control at the workplace with all those new technologies. And this goes very, very far. This is a German report from Cracked Labs. So for those that speak German, you can search for that report from Cracked Labs. And it's quite astonishing what is out there already, and how some big corporations are really controlling and monitoring everything that everybody does at the workplace, be it as a remote worker or an on-site worker. Education and skills. So which new jobs will emerge in the future? Very new jobs, probably. And which ones will completely disappear? And what are the future skills that workers need? And can the education system adapt to educating people for jobs that don't even exist when they enter university? So we see, for example, more and more big corporations creating their own curricula and courses, which is a signal here. And are we able to upskill the entire workforce for future jobs and complex technological environments, or shall we give up that idea and imagine new models? The social contract around work. So are we heading towards non-conditional basic income, which would change the game also around work? Shall we all get a share of global IA and robotics as social security, instead of letting the lion's share of profits only with the GAFAs, because somehow they are creating value from our attention? We all know that, and we don't get something against that. So, and will we enter a new economic system as a result of reaching the planetary boundaries and changing value systems? And what will be the role and future of work in that system, if there will be any? And the pandemic also revealed which jobs and work is critical for running our society on a daily basis. Jobs that are undervalued and underpaid compared to other types of jobs that some people even call bullshit jobs. So the other types of jobs, or David Graeber, the famous anthropologist who died too early from the London School of Economics, coined this term quite a few years ago. And then one of the biggest issues, sustainability and environmental social governance. Climate change and sustainability will be the most pressing challenge of the future, for the future of humanity. So, and how will this, or must this green transition affect work and the job market, including worker mobility? And how will the S and the G, so social and governance, affect the future of work, now that more and more companies are legally required to proceed to non-financial and integrated reporting on their ESG performance, as required by the EU Green Deal and the recently proposed EU taxonomy? And then finally, what is work? What is the role? What will be the role and meaning of work in the human future? Is it only paid work or any other activity that benefits the smaller or larger social ecosystem? I know Anya is going to talk about this a little after my talk, and how will work be valued? And final considerations when talking about any question about the future, as we have these biggest challenges: environmental degradation, erosion of equality, justice, and democracy, and also unethical AI. It can also be ethical, of course, but there is also, we see it, like Instagram, we now know, they know at Instagram that Instagram is harmful for teenage girls, but they do anything and nothing about it. They continue to do it. So should any question about the future, including the question about the future of work, be guided through these three lenses only, because all other directions don't make sense and won't bring us no way anymore. And thank you for your attention, and happy future.